I am your guest, sir.
All right, welcome back to the channel. This is Junk Drummer TV. He's the one I talk about all the time. Amazing drum teacher, wrestling fan, and probably one of my oldest friends. And I don't mean he's old. We've been friends a long, long time. Steve, you and I headed up the interstate to Cleveland a few years ago. It was July of 2021 for SmackDown. And one of the primary reasons we wanted to go was because it was the summer of Cena. He was back, he returned. And here we are again, buddy. You and me gonna go up 77 to Cleveland one more time to see the last Cena, the farewell to Cena. The last time is now.
Man, I hope he shows up. He's not a guarantee. I know he's not on the he wasn't on the Ticketmaster website. Yeah, I mean, dude, we've been friends long enough. I had hair and you didn't have any gray, homie.
That's right, no shit.
And I think we were friends through wrestling before we even knew that we were in the music business together.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been to 2 tapings. I've been to a Raw with you, and I went to WrestleMania this year, or last year.
It was SmackDown we went to.
Or SmackDown, sorry. Yeah, SmackDown. And then this will be my first Raw viewing, and it will be, I think, kind of strange because it's Netflix. So I don't know how different it will be run because it doesn't seem like they're running consistently timed ads. It seems like that's a little wide open. Have you noticed? I could be wrong. But it feels like our segments are going a little longer.
Longer, for sure, yeah. You can still tell when it's coming, though. Like when they do an outside spot or you get the slow-mo replay. It's like you can feel your instincts kicking in. But no, you're right. And I'm anxious to see how the production varies as well. They've done bigger arenas, you know. I mean, they've been in bigger towns and bigger arenas. Last week was Atlanta. This week is Cleveland. And so the demos are getting slightly smaller. You know, the population is getting slightly lower. But I'm anxious to see what it's like in there as well. And also, man, the thing that I think about when, as far as the difference goes, is we don't know if we'll get a 2-hour Raw or a 3-hour Raw. I mean, it could be one of the ones that goes longer. And the last Raw I went to was the Raw before Mania, which as wrestling fans, you can always expect a certain amount of things. It was like we kind of knew, we were kind of hoping Austin was going to come out. That was the big thing, but that didn't happen. It was full of promos and meaningless matches. This time, though, this is the Raw after the Royal Rumble. We're on day 1 of the road to WrestleMania, basically. What do you think is what are you most looking forward to seeing? What are you anticipating to see?
Look, I have a confession. I used to be one of those cynical Gen X John Cena haters.
Same.
My wrestling viewing has eras. I watched when I was a kid. I watched right out of college. That was right in the middle of the Attitude Era. And then I started back right around when Alberto Del Rio was driving in the Bentleys and the Ferraris, and he had his own announcer. And I'll tell you, I came back to wrestling because The Rock came back, and it was the Rock Cena. Maybe it was earlier than that. Doesn't matter. John Cena was someone I booed. If he wins, I'm not watching this shit anymore. and I think if we look back on it now that we've got to see such good booking over the last year and a half or so, they bad booked Cena into being hated by us old marks. And even then we were, pretty old in the demographic, even during Super Cena Day.
Right. And he was geared towards kids. I mean, it was obvious that was, and that was part of what we disliked about it. It's like, well, we're adult fans,
Yeah.
We need something edgy.
I don't know what turned it. I think it might have been the summer of punk and how such a great angle that was. And now I've went past, okay, I don't hate him too. He's one of the all-time greats.
Totally.
If you don't admit that, you're being an asshole. You know who you are? You're that guy at the party who says, I don't like the Beatles. No one believes you.
Yes.
No one believes you.
Don't come at me with the 5 moves of doom, because guess what? You don't need any more than that. If it's working this well, why would you do any other moves? Anytime he came up with a new one, we just made fun of him. So why would he?
Yeah.
Why would he?
He's an all-time great, and I have all the respect in the world. If you want to go from a humanitarian standpoint, he is the man who has done more Make-A-Wish than any human who's ever done Make-A-Wish. He's a guy that doesn't have to do that. He can do your prerequisite 2 or 3 or whatever. This guy, and man, I'm a teacher, right? So over the last, 27 years of teaching, the one that they all like. You don't even have to ask. If you find out that you have a 13, 14, 15-year-old student who's a wrestling fan, you don't have to ask. It's John Cena. And look, we were all those 14 and 15-year-old kids, and you could ask Adam at 15, who's your favorite wrestler, and you're going to say
Ultimate Warrior.
Right? Yeah, the worst worker that's ever held the belt. Exactly. He's the worst worker that's ever held the belt.
I think about that all the time. Everybody has that inroad, right? And it doesn't matter. It's probably not going to be work rate.
No, we didn't care.
It's going to be flashiness and charisma and the entrance music.
No, well, obviously, yes, but you know what it is? Not to get artistic this early in, but it's how did it make you feel?
Definitely.
And John Cena has given us dude, one of the best things that he ever did was job to The Rock at WrestleMania.
Oh, for sure.
It's a performance of a lifetime. Such an iconic, here's Super Cena, right? The man that wins all the time. And there he is, just dejected. You're seeing the picture in your mind as I
can see it right now. Yeah, absolutely. Him like holding the sweatband and everything. And the other thing I'll say about Cena, and in my last video I talked about my lunch with Ric Flair, and when Ric Flair, we were taking him back to the hotel, not to name drop or anything, but wooing! We were taking him, Nate, back to the hotel, and this was pre-woo wings, Nate. Wooing! Mentioned that was 10 years ago. But he mentioned how Cena can't go anywhere. Cena he has to stay in his hotel room. He can't even go to the bar and have a drink with the boys. He can't go out and just prance around in all these towns like Flair did. Flair lived the gimmick, and John Cena in the same way has kind of had to live the gimmick, but it's been that squeaky clean guy who has to stay in and he can't be late for his auditions, and he's going to learn Mandarin.
Also, something to think about, he doesn't want to break a bunch of kids' hearts.
That's right.
And he knows that he's going to have to tell some of them no.
That's right.
Because he's John Cena. Yeah. And I think that probably has a little bit to do with it. You know what I'm saying? Look, the God Emperor Jim Cornette, he said it. And if you look at this era right now, it has Cornette's hands all over it. Almost everyone in the main event has touch Jim Cornette at some point. I know there's a lot of haters. I know there's a lot of haters out there, but remember, Cornette met John Cena, and he said within a week, he was the guy that he entrusted to carry the ring, from town to town. He said that he got into Louisville and got a house, and he was gotten his shit together, and he was there to work, and he's by all accounts just done everything right. All he's done was save the WWE for Roman Reigns.
No doubt.
We were watching then, Adam. It was rough.
It was rough, no question. And that's part of what I think we got to remember him for, is like actually getting us through that rough time. And it may not be the best time to look back on, but we can say Cena was the face of the company. And I think it was Stone Cold. I can't remember who he was saying it to, but someone that actually got to get the big win over Big Match John. And he said, I hope you appreciate what just happened. I hope you appreciate what just happened, because nobody gets to stand over top of Big Match John. And and that's what I'm wondering about this comeback tour, or this final tour, man. Is it make the most sense for him to win the Rumble? Is that the story we need? I mean, they make us think so many things, and we think, yeah, that's what's going to happen. But they might make us think that just so they can swerve us.
Here's the thing, though. And this is just going to be a Triple H slob the knob episode of your podcast, because I can give you 4 or 5, maybe 6 names where I'd be just as satisfied as a pig in shit. Cena, I would be excited. Roman Reigns, yeah, okay. CM Punk, fuck yeah. Seth Rollins, whatever. Dude, you said a dark horse when we were off camera here. Sami Zayn, what the fuck?
I was saying, they have so many people that they've convinced have a shot and that it would be great. And last night you told me Sami Zayn, I was like, oh, there's no way he would win the Royal Rumble. But after his promo and Kevin Owens came out and he said, I hope you win. And I hope you challenge me after I beat Cody so we can main event WrestleMania together. And I'm going, that would be great. That's the best possible outcome.
And not only, Sami Zayn obviously declared, because he was going to, the crowd is fucking here for it.
And right now, Sammy, that Karrion Kross stuff backstage, like he's leaning that way. He's kicked Cody accidentally a couple times now. Man, oh man, good stuff. Little seeds getting planted all over the place. Drew obviously has won before. You know, he had to have his WrestleMania moment in the pandemic, and then came back and had to do the JOB to Roman, you know, helping extend that reign again. Nobody is going to argue with Drew in a main event, but yet he hates Seth Rollins. He hates Punk. He hates so many people that he could have a great match with anybody and it would be a WrestleMania level match. Yeah. So, you know, and then there's Roman.
Yeah. You know, did you mean for your voice to kind of get a little excitement out of it when you said it like that?
What do you do with the next GOAT? I mean, you know, he's the next Cena. He's the face of the company. Well, not necessarily now. I guess Cody technically is the face of the company, but
Roman
in the previous,
still kinda is.
yeah, exactly. Man, that tension between those two right now. Who do we love most? Who are we possible of hating again? What are they going to have to do to get us to hate one of those guys? And what's Paul Heyman's role in all of it? Last time when we went to Cleveland, Steve, it was July of 2021, and Cena came out. He spoke first, but do you remember who interrupted him?
Was it Edge?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that's right. And he was right in front of us. We were off to the side of the entrance, and there was Paul Heyman. That's right. You've got the best memory.
It was, well, I've got it written down. I'm looking at my notes. I wish I could remember that. Here's a couple more pop trivias for you. Just, you know, do you remember who we saw in the dark match?
It was Aaliyah.
Oh, good job.
And it was Aaliyah and the tall girl that was wrestling with the Poison Pixie.
Indy Hartwell.
Yeah, man. I was bought
Good job. That was the second one.
I was bought into both of them. Indy Hartwell, like, look, man, I'm kind of a size queen when it comes to a female wrestler. I need you to have a look. Alexa Bliss is doing great for her size. But look, man, I'm going to believe Raquel Rodriguez.
No question.
And I'm going to believe Charlotte, because she's our queen. I'm going to believe Indy Hartwell. I hope she gets up there. And, you know, Aaliyah, whoo, that was something to look at. And, dude, she was fine worker. You know, it was fine.
Well, maybe. The other opening match, though, Odyssey Jones.
What? I don't remember that.
We saw Odyssey Jones defeat Austin Theory in the dark match.
Wow.
You know, another good one we saw on here in the middle of this show, man. Zelina Vega versus Toni Storm.
Wow.
How about that in 2021, man?
Wow. I do not remember that.
Crazy. Yeah. But that was the last time you and I bought tickets to go see John Cena. And this time, we're not even sure he's going to be there. But I think no matter what, even if he doesn't win the Rumble, Cena's going to have to answer for it. And the number one question, now that we know he hasn't won the Royal Rumble or has, is what happens next? What is going to happen? So then Cena automatically enters the Elimination Chamber?
That number is looming, 17. And Ric Flair said and gave his, I mean, maybe he's changed his mind now because he's losing his mind. Wing! But he said that the one person he'd be cool with breaking that 16-time world championship, I guess you would call it a record. He said John Cena can do it. He gives his blessing for whatever that matters.
Right.
You know, there's just, again, Triple H is so good at not putting us down an obvious path. You know, the thing about what John Cena can do, and you said it in a podcast that we used to be on, and maybe again one day, one of the most important things that's ever happened to Austin Theory's whole life is losing to John Cena. John Cena has the gravitas to go out and make a lot of people. And look, man, I know that all you people who say words like e-drones are going to just want to kill us in the comment section, but you're absolutely wrong about that. There is nobody going right now, except for The Rock, and that's a different stratosphere, that wins mean more over. Who could you beat right now that means more for your credibility long term?
Well, and even Cena said it's been a while since he picked up a win. And so how do we reestablish that he is a dominant figure? He's not going to just come and lose all year long.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not just going to be the Cena puts you over the time is now tour, or the last time is now. So, I mean, I think it's, I don't know, man. I feel like him winning sets up a lot of things. But I was going to ask you this, and this is something for a big picture, I guess. But it's like, there's two belts, obviously. You know, you've got Gunther.
Three, actually.
Well, for sure. Gunther in one area, then you've got Cody. And so in your mind, does the winner of the Rumble have to challenge Cody?
If it's Cena, it should be Gunther.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Gunther, first of all, would be a fucking hell of a match. I do not know if the Hollywood star is interested in taking that kind of shoot beating, because for Gunther to go over, here's the thing, you got to think about the psychology of this.
Yes, yeah.
For Gunther to beat Cena, he's going to have to beat the ever-loving dog shit out of him for like 45 minutes.
Cena would be beaten in ways I don't know that he's ever been beaten. Maybe, I mean, he's been in there with Lesnar, though.
Yeah, true.
He's went toe-to-toe with Brock.
But this can't be like a 15-minute win for Gunther. It's got to be a grind. You know, he has to feel, God, you've got me booking, and I don't.
It's so hard to think about what you would do with John Cena.
I think I'll do this.
He's only the billion-dollar egg, you know.
I am not going to fantasy book this, because I'm going to be the one wrestling podcaster that doesn't fantasy book. But I would say that if he wins, there's nothing that can be done between him and Cody Rhodes. It has to be Gunther. Gunther is the one of the two champions that, you know, look, they're both world champions, but how many levels is Gunther underneath Cody Rhodes right now?
Right.
And
I would agree with that too. However, I feel like they really like having the Rumble winner in the last match. You know, I mean, that's the Rumble winner is the guy, right? However, if it happens as you just said it, then there's obviously the Elimination Chamber. Mm-hmm. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, oh, if it ends up being a Punk, a Drew, and a Roman in the Elimination Chamber, then all of a sudden that seems like a equitable task to get to Cody.
Yeah, I can see that. There's another thing, just standing in the wings and CM Punk. He referenced it a few promos ago. We're going to have to see CM Punk and John Cena at some point. And that can't just be on Bad Blood pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like, we can't have Cena versus Punk on whatever half-assed pay-per-view that they have in, like, June?
No, right. It needs to be SummerSlam or Survivor Series.
It's got to be at one of the big ones. So, dude, for all we know, and here's something that Triple H has been doing so well, and God Emperor Cornette talks about it. A Royal Rumble isn't just to get a winner. A Royal Rumble is your way to set up multiple storylines. What was the biggest storyline that came out of last year's Royal Rumble? It was Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Mm-hmm. It was, kismet, because CM Punk got hurt, unfortunately. And dude, how many months of box office did they do off of just that? They tried to, in the same Rumble, they tried to get the Karrion Kross versus, who were they feuding with going into Mania
last year?
Yeah, Hurt Business.
Maybe, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think
that was the table match, the TLC match at the WrestleMania. So that storyline started at that Rumble, and he's done a lot of getting other tertiary and secondary storylines out of conflict in the Rumble, and that's what it's supposed to be for. So, dude, for all we know, Cena somehow fucks Punk, Punk somehow fucks Cena. Now we got that going on.
There we go. Now we're talking. I want Cena to be really pissed at Punk again. You know what I mean? And I want Punk to be fed up with Cena again.
Oh, dude, the summer of Punk was magical.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good place to go. That's a good place to revisit. Let's talk about long-term storytelling.
Fuck yeah.
All right, we got about 5 minutes left. I gotta bring up two things though, because you and I, at this point we're elder statesmen of the wrestling community.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
just admit it. I realize not everybody was watching the first episode Raw live in 1993. I'm also realizing half the workers on the shows I ring announce weren't even alive when the first episode of Raw came on. They may not have even been alive when I graduated high school.
Dude,
so
how many fathers and sons and then have you watched in your life?
Exactly.
My first hero was Dusty Rhodes.
Exactly. But you and me, as part of the older generation, Steve, and I'm going to have to lean back a little bit, but are you and I going to be able to yeet
Oh man, if I
When
eat,
Jey Uso makes his big entrance in Cleveland.
I may throw my back out.
I'm saying I'm not. I was looking at Trish because they did the wide shot on Monday. My wife and she's looking at me like, "Is everybody doing it?" I was like, "I won't be doing it."
No, I'll bring a cane and just hold it up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The other person I'm expecting we're going to see, and he came out on Monday, Steve, and like it or not, it is his hometown. The social media megastar, Logan Paul, is gonna be there.
God, Logan Paul got atomic bomb heat. Holy shit, dude. I think enough people have found out all of the horrendous shit that he's done. And it's like, oh, WWE has done their research and now they really know how to hate this guy.
I mean, look, I think he's going to end up being like Cena, to where there's going to be a point where we have no choice but to like Logan Paul. He is so good at this.
He's so good at this.
When he comes out there and says, I did more in the first year of my career, I did everything you guys did in the first year of my career. Tremendous.
He's
Tremendous.
not wrong.
No, he's not. It's like, not since Kurt Angle did anybody do this much stuff in their first year.
Get out of my head. I was about to say, Adam.
Nobody else is.
I was going to say, I'm going to ruin your comment section by saying that Logan Paul can only be compared to Kurt Angle by how someone took to it so quickly. And the thing is, he took to it better on the mic because Kurt Angle was one of the best workers like day zero.
For sure.
But he didn't get his character work till way in. Logan Paul came in and had his promo.
True.
So in a lot of ways, except for, obviously longevity of his matches or match career, dude, he was doing promos better than Kurt Angle.
I can't wait to see what happens, man. I think we're going to get Cena. I think we're going to get Logan Paul. The Tribal Chief's going to be in the house. He's got to be.
Yeah.
We're going to get Cody Rhodes. He's the world champ. We're probably not going to get Chelsea Green, but, we'll probably get women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria.
Who?
I know you're looking forward to that one, Steve. And I bet you we see Austin Theory again, too, man. He's probably not going to have a huge night at the Rumble, so he's going to be ready to show up on Monday and put in a nice long tag match for us with Grayson Waller, right. Old school style. You and me, Steve, I love this part of the story because I was ordering the tickets, and I said, Steve, do we want our souvenir tickets to be mailed to us afterwards? And you were typing the same thing back to me as I was thinking the same thing. And do you remember what you said?
I don't.
Are we not marks?
Yeah.
Of course we're going to get our souvenir tickets. And so you got to promise to come back on the channel. We're going to show off our souvenir paper tickets, and we're going to review the Raw from Cleveland, all right?
Yes, sir. Dude,
right.
Thank you for having me. You are a voice that needs to be in this space. I'm a big part of this space because I listen to a lot of wrestling podcast content. And one of the things that I appreciate about you, and it's one of the things I love about you in your real life, is there's not a lot of hyperbole. You come in and you call balls and strikes.
Hey, listen.
You're not in here, and just like how you're the best announcer on the indie scene, you're not here to get yourself over. You're just here to talk wrestling. And we've needed that. Too many people out there, and myself included, I am guilty of this early on in my wrestling podcast career. We all think we're fucking Jim Cornette.
No doubt.
And we all ain't. And I that's one of the things I appreciate about your channel is it's just kind of let's talk about wrestling, and I'm not going to sit here and try to become a worker in this thing. I'm just a commentator.
I'm surprised I got you to commit to this, considering that the new drive-thru just dropped. So I'm glad I got you on the channel, Steve. Check out Junk Drummer TV, and hope to see you next time. See you at the matches.
Thank you.